Phil, just a horrific situation unfolding in this conflict between Israel and Hamas militants in the Gaza Strip. To talk more about what the feeling is like for people there, I want to bring in Patrick Amar. He's originally from Montreal. He now lives in Israel, where he works as a tour guide. Patrick, thanks so much for being here. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. We're not doing so great over here. We're having a tough time. Personally, myself and my family were okay, but the nation is hurting.
What kinds of conversations are you and your family having with your neighbors, with people around you that you can talk to?
It's tough. Israel is, it's an army of our children and neighbors and nieces and nephews. So when something like this happens and we get a call up of soldiers, it's the children of the neighborhood. It's the 19, 20-year-olds who are being called up, and that hits different. And with my kids specifically asking me what's going on, I'm personally a man of faith, and I try to impart on my kids that this is a time to have faith and to get through it, and to get through this with faith and acts of kindness and helping each other out, because, we have to kind of let things happen, let the army do what it has to do. But in the meantime, we have to help each other out and look out for each other here, because a lot of people are hurting.
And I love that you talk about, acts of kindness in the midst of now this full-scale war. Here we are at 10 o'clock p.m. in Israel right now. This is now the second day of this conflict. Tell me, I guess, what the last 2 days have been like, Patrick, digesting what's happening and kind of watching the coverage of it as well. Are there sirens going off in your part of Israel?
Yeah, I'm in Modi'in right now, which is kind of right in between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, right in central Israel. You can kind of see the lights of Tel Aviv behind me there. I'm like half hour between Tel Aviv and half hour to Jerusalem. And, I went to sleep Friday night thinking everything was great. Woke up Saturday morning. It was Shabbat. It was the high holidays. And I was getting texts on my phone from people in like the West Coast of the United States with a time difference telling me what's going on. And I turn on my phone and I'm like, okay, this is different. This is hitting different. I've been living here. I moved here from Montreal, like many people here in Israel. I've been living here almost 20 years. So, in these last 20 years, we've seen conflict, we've seen rocket fire, we've seen intifadas, but this time it's just very different. And so for the last, 36 hours, I've just been inundated with messages and WhatsApp messages and phone calls and texts asking me how we're doing. And people are really concerned, not just in Israel, but abroad. And seeing the images on TV and on, social media is just really scary. And, I just want to let people know that Israel is stronger than ever. We'll get through this. And, this is not a time for anxiety and panic. It's a time for, like I said, for faith and acts of kindness. So whatever people can do to help, they should do.
I admire your sense of calm, in the middle of this full-out war, with Israel saying it is going to get revenge for the horrific attack that Hamas carried out starting yesterday morning. You work as a tour guide, Patrick. I imagine all tours have now been canceled in Israel. Are you in contact with people that were in the country, in Israel, that were supposed to be going on tours with you? Are they stranded?
Of course. Well, this was the end of kind of a busy time, because a lot of people were here for the high holidays, and it's just kind of winding down. And then, Israel's tourism is busy 365 days a year. I had a group of 25 Jewish women from Los Angeles that were supposed to come here next Sunday. They canceled their trip, understandably. It's not a time to be here right now. Not because necessarily that it's unsafe, but because, it's hard to be enjoying your tour when, there's a war going on and people are being called up and there's suffering going on. So it's understandable. I was supposed to take a group of also about 30 guys from Los Angeles as well in November to Egypt. We were going to go to pyramids and Cairo, and, seeing the news that's coming out of Alexandria today, obviously, a lot of fear and anxiety. So we, are calling off that trip. And, like I said, I've been living here for 20 years. I've been a tour guide for all that time. And so, this isn't the first time we've had to deal with situations like this, but it's never pleasant. Often people come here to Israel, not just out of, to be tourists on a tour, but also out of solidarity and understanding the location and where they're coming to. And so, I always invite people to come here to Israel and show solidarity and see things for themselves when the time is right.
We're almost out of time here, Patrick. I just have one more question for you. Are you aware of Canadians that are stranded there in Israel that are trying to find a way to get back home here in the midst of this violence?
Look, nobody's really stranded, okay? It's not that kind of situation. Israel is a stable country, and security-wise, we have things in order. I could see planes landing and taking off from Ben Gurion Airport behind me. The airport's open. We're not that kind of country where if something like this should happen, the whole country falls into chaos and people are stranded, okay? So I have been getting texts and messages from parents of children who are here on programs and tourists that are like, should I come? Should I not come? I think right now it's a wait and see approach. Let's give it a few days, a few weeks, and see how things kind of settle out. And I don't think it's any time to make any kind of rash decisions. People are safe here. I have faith in the army and the government and each other. Like we really do look out for each other here in this country. And I woke up this morning in my town. The street was eerily quiet. Cars, it felt like kind of like COVID pandemic closures, where just cars weren't driving. The mall was closed. Only the supermarket was open. But I have a feeling that in the next few days, things will kind of come back to normal, and I expect that to happen.
Yeah, stark difference to the Tel Aviv, the Israel that I know that I've experienced, where people love to be outside, love to gather together. Patrick Amar, thank you so much for your time.
If you have one more second, I was actually in Tel Aviv today because a friend of mine wanted to go donate blood. And we went to the Dizengoff Center in downtown Tel Aviv, which is like the major mall. And there were literally like thousands of people waiting in line. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll see kind of a video I posted about it of just people, young people of Tel Aviv waiting in line to donate blood. So people are not just sitting around at home scared. They're out. They're taking care of each other and looking out for each other. So thank you.
Appreciate you sharing that with us as well, Patrick. Stay safe and make sure your family's kept safe as well. Thanks so much.
I will. Thank you so much.
So, Phil, here we are on this side of the world, watching and waiting and monitoring any developments as they come, as this war is expected to just continue to intensify over the next few days, Phil.
All right. Thank you very much, Beatrice, and your guest. Thank you so much for that conversation.